Hi, I'm Tim, and welcome to WatchYouWant.com. Thanks for logging on. Today, we have a real treat here. You're looking at Rolex's modern marvel, their magnum opus, the Rolex Sky-Dweller, reference 326939 in 18-karat white gold. The sensation of Baselworld 2012. This is the most complex Rolex, not just in a generation, but in almost half a century. The caliber 9001, based on a combination of the Greek lunar eclipse calendar and solar eclipse calendar, the Rolex in-house Daytona movement, and the ring command system that debuted in 2007 on the Yacht-Master II, takes all of the great threads of art and science and Rolex history and melds them into one unbeatable 42mm uber complication bearing the Rolex crown. This watch has a lot to recommend it, so let's start with the basics. 42mm, 18-karat white gold. This isn't a pilot's watch. This isn't a watch to wear while you're sitting in first class on the jet. This is the watch to wear when you own the jet and you're being chauffeured around by a former Navy tailhook hotshot with 30,000 hours and combat time. This is the ultimate. Now, it's one thing to say that it's a big gold Rolex, but the degree of complication in this caliber 9001 movement deserves a special shout out. Now, the annual calendar dual time function means that the watch has a degree of complexity unheard of since the Rolex Dato Compacts or Jean-Claude Killy triple date chronographs of the 1950s. But the way it's integrated into the aesthetic of the watch is incredible. The controlling mechanism for the entire watch is very elegantly hidden in the ring command bezel, and at the same time the crown is used with one position extracted to control the reference time, the local time, and to the annual calendar, as well as to wind the watch. This watch has it all. It is arguably the ultimate travel reference. Let me say a little bit more about this movement because it is such a highlight of the Sky-Dweller. With 380 parts, it surpasses even the Yacht-Master II's 360. It has Rolex's anti-magnetic, thermally resistant Parachrom hairspring. It has their proprietary Paraflex shock absorbers, so not only is it complex and fine, but it's tough. It's a COSC chronometer with a free-sprung balance. Again, that toughness. And with 72-hour power reserve, you know that all of these complex indications, multiple time zones, date, and month aren't going to be reset or need to be reset every time you put this watch down for a day or two. 7 patents protect this movement, and that's extraordinary. Even more extraordinary, of those 380 parts, 60 of them relate to the function of the bezel alone. So let's get into the function of this watch a bit, and then we'll do an on-the-wrist impression and go into some of the details of the styling and the portrayal of all of those complications. Now, in the first position, you can wind the watch. Crown position 1, bezel position 1. Now you turn it. Click it into place. Now you can drive the date, forward and backward, without any hazard to the movement. Rolex takes into account the fact that you may be jumping time zones to the extent that the date advances or retreats. So they make provision for that. Like I said, this is the ultimate travel watch. Now watch what happens. See that little window right there, that little dark window? Right above the Roman numeral 2, applied white gold, of course. Watch that. When we get to the end of February, watch what happens. Now it jumps to 3 o'clock, representing the 1st of March. And that little window with the dark rectangle in it is the ultimate in complication elegance. Rolex takes an annual calendar based on 2 separate gear ratios and 4 planetary gear wheels, and they reduce it to an indication of a date and a month, with each index, January, February, March, corresponding to the 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 12 on the dial. So a lot of information elegantly and discreetly portrayed. So while this is a big white gold Rolex, it also has tremendous elegance in its engineering and discretion in its design. But let's continue our tour of the ring lock system. Now we're in bezel position 3, and you see I can set the local hour hand independently right here. And I can use it to drive the date fore and aft if I am just setting myself ahead 1 or 2 time zones. So I don't have to use the manual control for the date if I don't want to use the quick set, or if I'm just setting the watch to correspond to my time zone wanderlust. So the bottom line is there's a 4th position, and in that 4th position everything's coupled. The 24-hour dial right in the center, that is your reference time zone, so you know your AM PM in the reference time. That will move, and as you can see, it will drive the jump date at precisely 12 midnight. This is precision here. Patek Philippe does no better. So eat your hearts out, neighbors in Geneva. Rolex has mastered complicated watchmaking. And all of the traditional Rolex virtues are there. Now, to put the crown back in, you simply return the ring lock to its original position of neutral, and now I have 100 meters of water resistance. This watch can go anywhere you go. Sky, surf, turf, the Sky-Dweller does it all. It doesn't discriminate. This watch is just as waterproof as any Explorer 2 or Rolex Daytona. And because of this full white gold construction, no strap, you can get it wet. You know, you can play rough with this watch, with Paraflex, with the full balance bridge. All those Rolex toughness hallmarks, they're all inherent in this watch. So as complicated as it is, you don't have to walk around with your arm like retracted away from doorknobs, away from, car seat belts, worrying that someone might knock it if they brush past on the street. This watch is as tough as a Daytona or a Submariner. And the bottom line is, it wears like one too, with full oyster bracelet and the full milled from a solid 18-karat white gold oyster clasp. This is a very comfortable watch on the wrist. Now you're looking at my wrist 6 1/3 inches. That's 16 centimeters for our metric friends. Bonjour. The bottom line is that this watch is the biggest in the Rolex catalog in the 42 millimeter case size. It's relatively thick, but not obtrusively so. It's not an overbearing piece. It's not nearly as big as the Deep Sea or the Yachtmaster II, which is nice because if you want your Rolex complicated, but you don't necessarily want the visual baggage or mass of the Yachtmaster II, the Sky-Dweller really delivers, and it delivers it in a package that kind of reads like I would say a big Datejust or a big Day-Date. It's a very good combination of high complication and classical Rolex styling cues. Now, the oyster bracelet with the 3-link design wears just like any other, and the milled out 18-karat white gold clasp features Rolex's proprietary Easy Link tool-free 5mm adjustment. You can see it right there, so if you need to take out or add a little bit of length, tool-free on the fly because your wrist expands due to hot weather, cold weather, exercise. Like I said, this watch can go just about anywhere you would, including the beach, including out for a jog. You've got that right there, but you've also got 3 different stations where the link can actually be readjusted if you do want to bring a jeweler's tool into play, and that's great because there's a tremendous amount of adjustability built in without having to actually remove links. Now, the watch contains what is, by all accounts, the most complex movement Rolex has ever made. But the portrayal of all that complication, 2 time zones, an annual calendar with a month and a jump date, it's very spare, and it leaves a lot of open real estate to appreciate Rolex's applied white gold Roman numerals and corresponding white gold hands. You can even see the subtlety of Rolex's design with the minute and hour hands being partially skeletonized to permit visual access to the 24-hour reference ring below it. Very well thought watch. And again, this is flying first class with Rolex. Check that. This is flying your own class on your own jet. This is Rolex at the top of the heap. Among Rolexes, the brand of the 5-pointed crown, this is the one that wears the crown. With full boxes, papers, all Rolex factory accessories, this Rolex Sky-Dweller 18-karat white gold reference 326939 is available from watchyouwant.com. See it on our website in high-resolution images. I guarantee you, if you like your Rolexes complicated, if you like your Rolexes avant-garde, if you long for the day when Rolex vied with crosstown rival Patek Philippe for mastery of complicated haute de gamme timepieces, look no farther. This Rolex Sky-Dweller reference 326939 in 18-karat white gold is the watch you want.